Welcome to this session on SAM fundamentals. My name's Louise Ulrich, and it's my pleasure to take you through this training on the basics of software asset management, or SAM. In our session, we'll start by looking at a definition of SAM and some of the great reasons why organisations should be interested in it. That will lead us nicely on to the notion of a SAM programme, and we'll see the diverse range of benefits that organisations can expect if they implement a SAM programme. Finally, we'll take a look at some of the Microsoft SAM engagements that are available and end up with seeing some real customers who are currently enjoying the benefits of SAM in their organisations. So let's start with that all-important question. What is SAM? Well, this is a standard definition of SAM, where you can see that it helps organisations control and optimise the use of software across their business. Obviously, this is not a trivial task, and so a set of proven IT practices that unite people, processes and technology are used to achieve the management of software assets. And organisations that have invested time in getting these practices in place are said to have a SAM programme. But do organisations need to invest time and money in getting their own SAM programme? I think we should take a look at what an organisation without a SAM programme might look like. So my question was, why do organisations need a SAM programme? Well, these are some of the things that worry people in IT or in purchasing, or who have responsibility for compliance and governance within a business. A lot of these are about just not knowing the facts of how software assets are used in a business. They don't know what's installed or if it's actually being used if it is installed, and they have no idea what they've bought and thus if that installed software is licensed. So are they compliant? They have no way of knowing. That means that they go into an audit situation completely blind. Will there be a big bill to pay? Who's to know? How have they got into this situation? Well, it's likely to be a lack of processes. So if users really can install any software they want at any time, it does show there's no central control with no documented procedures. That would mean that if a user requests software, a centralized inventory would be updated and a license would be assigned to that user or his device. Lack of knowledge means that an organisation's strategic decision making is impaired. They've got no negotiating power when it comes to getting advantageous price points with software resellers. And because they don't know what they're using now, they can't know what they'll be using next year. And so their IT budgeting and forecasting ability is impacted. It's clear, I think, that getting on board with a SAM programme is a really good idea. So how do organisations get to the stage where SAM is part of their business and they feel in control of all of the things on this slide? Typically, SAM is implemented in an organisation by following 4 basic steps. The first step is to inventory and catalogue software. Now you can analyse which software titles are being used on a company's servers, PCs and workstations by performing a manual inventory or by using a tool to generate software inventory reports. Microsoft tools include System Center Configuration Manager or the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Toolkit, also of course known as the MAP toolkit. Then it's all about matching licenses with software. You need to find the licensing documentation for each software title that's been discovered during the software inventory process. And then the findings are analysed and the results documented, and that establishes a baseline. Next, it's about reviewing and perhaps creating new policies and procedures. Does the company have existing policies outlining, for example, software use and acquisition and deployment procedures? If so, then they need to be reviewed to make sure that they're still applicable and cover all departments and employees, for example. But if there are no current policies, then this is the time to write them. This is, of course, where SAM partners often play a key role in assisting organisations to help develop these policies and procedures. And then finally, it's about implementing and maintaining a software asset management plan. This is where an organisation can be considered to have a SAM programme. It's not about doing a one-off inventory and license match-up and putting some new processes in place. It's about making sure there's a plan to keep the process moving forward. Organisations will need at a minimum software use policies, regular software inventory checks, employee training, and of course executive sponsorship of the whole SAM programme. So let's now consider a business which does have a SAM program in place. And how does that business look different to the one we considered right at the start of the session, which didn't have a SAM program in place? Well, this business now has a thorough, up-to-date record of all of their software assets and licenses. They know exactly what software they've got deployed and which of that software they're actually using. They have a precise picture of what software they have now and thus what they'll need in the future. And they know that they're compliant and that all of their deployed software is correctly licensed. Added to that, they know that they're using genuine products with all of their associated benefits. And then to keep things that way, they have streamlined and carefully controlled internal processes, and they're taking proactive action in case of disaster by having off-site backups of all of their important records and materials. So they've got control, they've got knowledge, and they've put the right processes in place. What sort of tangible benefits will this drive for a business? Let's take a look at a number of areas where an organisation can expect to see real improvement. Let's talk first about how an organisation could save money by having a good SAM program in place. They're going to be able to buy just the right software for their needs, which means they'll eliminate waste, any overlap, and any accidental duplicate purchases. They really will be in the position that they're just paying for what they use. Their improved knowledge will help them to know when to retire licenses so that as software is no longer used, the licenses aren't renewed. And they'll be able to make more strategic purchasing decisions about how they buy software and will purchase it in the right way, whether that's pre-installed or through a volume licensing agreement, for example. Their improved processes will eliminate ad hoc purchases of expensive software and perhaps also prohibit people from buying unauthorized software on their credit card. And stopping ad hoc purchases also, of course, leads to a business having a consolidated licensing position, which will give them an advantage in future negotiations with software resellers to achieve a better price point for their needs. So saving money is clearly a great benefit, but what other benefits are likely to be available for an organisation with a great SAM programme in place? Well, they're likely to enjoy increased operational efficiency. For example, they'll now have centralized IT and software asset tracking rather than random, incomplete spreadsheets held by departments or individuals. They'll be in a great position to prepare for technology upgrades. They know what software and hardware they've got and can assess, for example, which machines need upgrading before an operating system upgrade project is undertaken. They're going to be able to identify security vulnerabilities too. They can see where older, perhaps unsupported software is deployed or where patches haven't been applied. Allied to that, they'll also be able to see where the latest software updates have been implemented. Improved processes all round are likely to mean that support costs are reduced and requests for tech support are optimised. Software that's patched and working as it should absolutely reduces the burden on the IT department. And the SAM programme is likely to have highlighted manual processes that can be standardised and automated, and this in turn will lead to improved workflow and better record keeping in the business. Many of the things on this slide obviously are going to save time as well, and as we know, time is money. I've said here that organisations will be more strategic. What do I mean by that? Well, part of it is about making more informed decisions with the new information that's to hand. And that's either in the boardroom at a strategic level, how much will that operating system upgrade project cost us? Or day to day at a tactical or operational level. If 5 people leave a project, are there any licenses that we can reuse? Organisations are likely to be able to respond more quickly. Perhaps a user needs a particular piece of software as they join a particular project team. A SAM program means that we'll have a process for distributing that software to the user and updating the inventory and knowing that we've got a license for it. And improved information can mean that organisations are able to plan for what is needed when. And of course, that particularly helps improve IT forecasting for budgeting. And with a more controlled, strategic environment, a business can, for example, properly depreciate software and receive the relevant tax benefits. Quite rightly, businesses don't like risk, and a good SAM program can mean that risk is reduced in certain areas. For example, with a SAM program in place, they know that there won't be big bills to pay when there's an audit or review, or any other financial penalties and legal costs associated with non-compliance. Not only that, they'll avoid other side effects too, such as damage to their reputation that could arise from a lawsuit. And finally, a SAM program can help an organisation achieve compliance with government regulations that really do require strict standards of IT governance and controls. Let's have a look now at disaster protection. In case of disaster, a business needs to know that their software assets are protected in the event of unexpected adversity so that they can recover more quickly from any type of loss. How can the SAM program help this? Well, the improved information means that they know what they had installed where, and the improved processes mean that they will, for example, have off-site records of all of their key information. And finally, to increased internal satisfaction, let's not underestimate this. A good SAM program means that there will be procedures that will help the efficiency and agility of IT staff so that their jobs are more rewarding and the service their department gives increases. And not only that, fully patched systems will just work so that the whole business has a better IT experience. Employees who need particular software to perform their role will find that there are processes in place so that they can ask for software when they need it and, assuming it's authorised software of course, they will be able to install whatever they need with the business knowing that it remains in a compliant position with all of its records updated. There are some great benefits in implementing and maintaining a SAM program in an organisation, but what help is there for businesses to get started on their SAM journey? This is where Microsoft SAM engagements can offer help. There are a variety of SAM engagements aimed at different organisations, and they're useful whether the business is right at the beginning of thinking about SAM or they're looking for help to make more informed decisions about strategic business priorities. Let's take a moment now to look at some of these SAM engagements. A useful first engagement for a customer with limited or no SAM is the SAM Baseline Review. This engagement delivers a complete picture of a customer's Microsoft product deployments and their licensing position and offers insight into the organisation's current SAM maturity level. The end result of this engagement is recommendations on how to implement an effective SAM program. Then there are a number of engagements that focus on helping in specific business areas. And the first one of these that we'll look at is a cybersecurity SAM engagement. This is all about assessing the software deployed within a customer's environment to detect areas that may pose a risk from a cybersecurity perspective. It could, for example, be old versions of Windows deployed on desktop machines or unpatched servers, for example. The end result of this engagement is to provide a solid baseline to be used as a foundation for a more in-depth organisational security assessment. The Cloud Ready SAM engagement is a popular one since it helps customers to assess their cloud readiness as they evaluate solutions for moving some or all of their infrastructure to the cloud. The end result of this engagement is the establishment of SAM policies and procedures so that cloud and on-premises investments can be managed effectively. And the last one I've chosen here is the SQL Workloads SAM engagement. This one is all about helping customers to optimize, perhaps obviously, their SQL Server environment. Activities in this engagement include evaluating current SQL Server deployments, highlighting potentially underutilized SQL servers, and determining optimal usage and licensing scenarios. The end result of this engagement is to implement SAM policies and procedures to manage the investment in SQL Server effectively. These are just a couple of the SAM engagements that are available for SAM partners to offer to customers, and you can find out about all the other engagements at the link you see on the slide there. Let's finish our SAM Fundamentals session by looking at some real customers who've enjoyed tangible benefits from different SAM engagements. First of all, we can see Zenosoft Technologies, who estimate that they save as much as $15,000 a year in IT costs, thanks to knowing what type of licenses they need and streamlining their spending. Then the next one, Home Care Medical, are in a better position when new people join their company, since they now know what licenses they'll need to get people up and running. Promise Solutions used a SAM engagement to look at moving to a virtualized environment, and you can see here that they now have a clear picture of how the licensing strategy will work and where they can save money. ACG Worldwide are here and who, thanks to the SAM processes they've implemented, now understand what their hardware and software budget requirements will be over the next 12 months. Voltus Limited estimate that they'll save approximately 10% every year in software and licensing purchases because they can now budget and manage their software requirements more effectively. And finally, Ashgrove Cement are empowered for the future. They've got a baseline inventory of software that they have a high level of confidence in, and they now know how they should manage assets going forward. They describe SAM as a win for everyone. You can find these and many more case studies at the link that you see on the slide there. I hope you've enjoyed the SAM Fundamentals session. Why not take the associated exam on the Get Licensing Ready site now, and then work through the other modules in the SAM Lite track.